All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Movie Talks and Chill. We're your hosts. I'm Tony Serrano.
I'm Gavin Butts.
And unfortunately, Patrick Wall is not joining us today. He had to do his other real job.
I mean, how dare you labor on a Saturday?
But we are excited. If you probably noticed, we are in a different location. We are at the University of Tampa, and we'd like to introduce our guests with us. If you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Gregg Perkins. I'm the chair of the Department of Film Animation and New Media. I'm also the director of the Tampa Animation Festival.
Fantastic.
Hello, I'm Dana Corrigan. I'm professor of animation at the University of Tampa and co-founder of Pencil Gator Animation Studio.
Fantastic.
Hey guys, good to be here again. Joseph Solinsky with Pencil Gator Animation Studio, also co-founder, and just excited to have this conversation about the Animation Festival.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for inviting us here to talk about it. We actually met back at Sunscreen.
That's right.
This year. It feels like forever ago. It's only been a few months, but
Well,
everybody's busy.
That was also a long week for us.
Yes, it was a very long week.
Well, we have 12 hours of content
Maybe
that week?
Yes, more than that actually.
In 3 days.
Quite a bit.
Wow.
But thank you guys for inviting us out here to talk with you. We were super excited to when we discussed and you said you had the Animation Film Festival. We're like, hey, we love film festivals. That's where we met. So why don't we just kind of kick it off? Let's talk a little bit about the Animation Film Festival coming up. Let's give us kind of overview, some background, and I'll let you guys just kind of take it away from there.
Sure. It was an idea that originally I think I came up with in about 2017, 2018 when our department was founded. So we were originally digital arts in the art department, filmmaking in the communication program, and then we had a floating new media major, which has now become kind of gaming, which was a shared major between English, music, art, film. I think those are all the departments. So in 2017, 2018, that we actually became our own department. So we are now film animation, new media. Dana was a student here as an undergrad when you were in digital arts. Is that correct? Or where were you in the... or were you new media? I forget where you were in the grand scheme of that.
So I was, I believe, the first graduating class of electronic media, art and technology, which became new media back in 2006. So a long time ago.
About, where we both been at the university about the same amount of time. Well, the here and back and then here. So the idea was we were forming a department that was going to have BFAs. Prior to that, we had BA degrees, Bachelor of Arts and not Bachelor of Fine Arts, which is a professional degree. And along with that, strategically, as a department chair and founding chair of the program, I thought, well, what better way to sort of bolster and recruit for our animation program than to start an animation festival? And so looking back even to the 1990s, now the managing director of animation at Leica Studios, which is a stop-motion animation studio founded by Travis Knight, Phil Knight's son in Portland. Brad Schiff was actually one of our alumni. So I was introduced to him through faculty who had been here when he was in school. We got together with him, and he came for the first film festival in 2018, and he literally brought the Coraline doll. If you look at our website, you'll literally see him standing there with Coraline.
That's awesome.
Which is a mind blower for all of that generation of students, and even today, people really do know Leica for Missing Link, and I think they've got a new film releasing this fall, or they're just finishing up animation. So that was really the impulse, is to bring all of the resources together that we had already kind of in place. We had students had gone out and worked at animation, at animation and visual effects houses, like Brendan Eschner, who ended up at MPC, and I think he's now doing other work. But there's a lot of students who were kind of sporadically out in the industry doing animation, and we just sort of called back on those folks to come back and support us. So we were working to do this biannually. COVID hit. We took a break, and it took kind of forever to get us back on track. So in mid-February 2025, we did a kind of a sneak preview of what's going to become the Tampa Animation Festival this fall, November 6th through the 9th here on the University of Tampa campus at the Charlene Gordon Theater. We did a short curated block of films that our director of programming, Derek Horn, picked out for us. It was a child-friendly block, and despite there being much wailing among some of the children on some of the sadder films, it was a real hit. And I think it was it was a preview for what's to come. At that point, we also opened up our Film Freeway, which was free for entry until just about a month ago. And we have currently about 750 or pushing 800 entries, some paid, some free, from over 60 countries in every continent. So for our first year back, we've heard from other people who've run, similar festivals or festivals in general, 700 to 800 strictly animated films from literally across the globe is really a remarkable number. So
absolutely.
we're really heartened by the response. And I think it's going to be voices from around the world. There are many Iranian filmmakers that have submitted, Russian, Belarusian, Chinese. Like, we've got people from around the world. It's really impressive. From Finland to South Africa, we really have sort of seen a huge swath, and a lot of nations in Africa. We've seen a really large swath of applicants in an incredibly diverse set of voices. We have 9, I think, awards categories. That tends to motivate people to apply, because winning awards at festivals is obviously a way to really promote your career. So
It's a good
that
accolade.
was one of the things that was advised to us by our director of programming, to really get the submissions coming in. You make it free. You also provide awards. You're going to get a really great response rate. And so the work is really strong. I mean, we're just in the process of starting to get into. Our submissions are still open, so we can't say who's going to be in yet. But we're now going through with a league of screeners and really doing diligence and pulling out the ones that I think are really the strong ones. Also, everybody who we screened in February is already in competition for the awards. That was one of the ways we got these filmmakers who are really out there. Like, some of them I think are Oscar nominated, to come back and screen with us, because they were eager also to be in the running for the awards. So it's kind of where we're at. We have briefly. You can cut this any way you wish. I mean, we have approximately about 40 animation majors now on campus. They're all bachelors of fine arts. Dana's really our central, and she's pulling the entire cart in many ways about 2D and 3D animation for us, and she's really become a cornerstone of our animation program. And I really, as a founder, wanted to enable younger animators to come in and make this program where people would want to come and study and also teach. And we've gotten a great animator back, and one of our colleagues here as well. I should just step back here and let them talk about their own work, and really, to a large degree, this is kind of how I had envisioned it starting. My colleague Santiago Echeverri was a technical director, along with, really more of the website, UI, UX, and website piece. Warren Cockerham has been the technical director from the beginning, and then I was sort of the founding director. They too deserve great accolades for having made the first one a real success, and I think this one's going to really be over the top. So we're excited about it. I feel like it's going to be a great. It's also free to the public, so anybody who attends, I think we are going to set up a ticketing system. There will be tickets, but there will be no fees to get into anything. So
like an Eventbrite?
It's entirely, it'll probably be Eventbrite. Film Freeway, that's yet to be determined, but Film Freeway also has their own ticketing system that I've honestly just not done the research on. So it will be out there on our website, tampaanimationfestival.com, sooner than later. But this is really about getting the animation and VFX filmmaking community together here in one location. We're looking for this to be a major community event. We would really like this to be an Oscar-nominating festival in the next 7 years. It takes 7 years of consistent festivals to even be considered for Oscar nominating. So we're doing all the things right to sort of be in the running.
Yeah.
I think, like, in a more fantastic way, I think we would love to be the American counterpart of Annecy. If you know that film festival in France, it's extremely.
I had a question
high-end.
about other film festivals. Dana said this. I wanted to double check with you. Is this the only film festival that does animation focused in the state?
I don't know offhand, but it is strangely.
Believe so.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So strangely enough, I was like, well, we just do an animation festival. I didn't realize how rare they were. It's
when I was in high
wait a
school-
minute, we're like the only one.
When
Yeah.
I was in high school, I used to go to Spike and Mike's Festival of Animation
Okay.
at the La Jolla Museum of Contemporary Art.
Okay, that sounds great.
And that's where I saw what became the kind of the mascot for Pixar. So
That makes sense.
all those early animations that people think of as huge companies, huge names. Is it Will Vinton, the California Raisins stop motion claymation guy?
Right.
That all started there. So I would love to see that in my later years happen here in Tampa.
Yeah, that was really the point. I'm also part of the film committee, the board of the Film Tampa Bay, the film commission. And one of the things that we've worked with for years is to try to bring more film production, be that live action or animated, to Florida. With a rarity of incentives, right? So the county has provided some incentives, but this was another way to really kind of underscore both our teaching mission here on the campus to be good stewards to our students and also to the community, but also really kind of play nice with the larger community of Tampa and try to bring animators here. Depending on what happens, if animation or if incentives come back, you could imagine animation houses opening here almost immediately. So that's really been the goal. I mean, I think I've always got one ear to the economic situation for filmmakers, both live and animated here, because there's a lot of great schools and not a ton of opportunity as far as I can tell. There's just you guys can speak better to that. I really am the ivory tower guy when it comes to animation. I'm just the person trying to make the moves to set you guys up for success, because I don't actively animate. I use AI, but it's absolutely for. I know. I'll admit it. I have to be ahead of the curve on these things. I have to be the head of the curve. But it's also to know how we should even be thinking about teaching it. I have to be, ahead in some ways to be relevant. Am I creating an AI animation company? By no means. With my experience with this, it's a ways off.
It's
ways off.
So the diffusion algorithm, the way that it works, basically, as I understand it, is that you have two images and you sort of blur them together, and somehow it comes back out as what you're after. The trouble with that technique is that it is a slot machine for content. There's no continuity shot to shot.
You're not going to get bridging. You're not going to get stylistic continuity.
You really have to be clever.
And you're probably stealing somebody's source art.
It's like copyright nightmare.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of lawsuits right now.
I think that's right. I'll come clean. I use Google Flow, which has been pretty good, and also Runway.
Okay.
So, again, I feel like to be a good administrator and keep my ear to the ground and what's happening in the animation, in the animation world, and in fact, even A24 opened an AI filmmaking wing, which is credence to the fact that this is really happening. So, I feel like I'm just trying to be up to speed. Am I going to become the next? No. This is not going to be Disney. It's me making music videos for my animated band. But
you never know.
You guys take it away. I mean, I would love to hear. I would love to hear
Right.
your experience of making. Your most recent film is doing well. I really want to be also here to highlight the content of, University of Tampa faculty and their companies that have been really making tremendous work, and I think being forerunners here in the city to be, really holding that wing down, which I think is a real accolade for us as a department to have Dana here, but also just in a larger context, trying to get a core of gravity so things stick to animation in Tampa and Florida in general.
Well, I'll start with one, but I think it's probably worthwhile to highlight a few of the students. So. Our company has brought on board several animators that have been Dana's students, past students. Right now we have a young lady named Gina, who's also the muralist for that hallway that everybody was in. She's been a very solid performer. We've had a few customers this year where she's been able to work on that. That was the work with Tim Sirafos.
Yeah.
And to me, it's great. We have a new intern, a fresh grad. He was a double major from U Tampa, animation and computer science. So, I mean, after my own heart right there. But Dana, why don't you highlight a few of your students?
Oh, sure. So yes, we've had Christian. He's fantastic. And we have Kylie, who she actually has 2 films that went into SIGGRAPH this year in the faculty submitted student showcase.
Maybe you can explain what that is. So everybody,
Oh, sure.
everybody out there in TV land knows.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah, so CGRAPH is run by ACM. What's it?
Association of Computing Machinery.
Thank you. And they're they're an animation technology conference, international, and they run annually in different locations and like world renowned, like huge deal to get in there. And we actually had several films from animation students here at UTampa who got into the faculty submitted student showcase.
Oh, nice.
Kylie's also the production manager for a documentary that I'm working on with a client called Always Ask for Help.
Okay.
That's on literacy.
Very nice.
The conference also, it's VFX, animation, and filmmaking technology. So it really does highlight the cohesion between computer science and what happens on screen. I mean, there's a reason that the Academy is called Arts and Sciences, right? For a reason, and this is really this is the trenches of where like shaders get worked out, and the people that I know I've interviewed were people who, for example, were the people who built the first set of renderers for Maya, for example. And so it gets really technical really quickly, but I think what we're trying to do as a program, we also teach virtual production, which is like big LED walls on Unreal Engine,
Like on
which is
Mandalorian.
adjacent to animation. I mean, it's somewhat, we're using the backgrounds as 3D immersive environments, but so much of that, and I published in that context at CGRAPH, so much of that is for us to remain relevant in terms of like pedagogy and teaching, really complex techniques, and that on the other end, our animation students and Dana students are showing there is like completing the circuit. You have faculty who are doing the due diligence of doing their own presentations and publications. I know Dana can talk about that as well. And then the faculty also, like myself, publishing on what we're doing. It brings the program into another register. We're up there with like the University of Tokyo and USC and Lucasfilm. Like you're among like real titans of animation, and it's been one of the real pleasant things to see our program really grow into in a kind of natural way, because we've sort of set our sights on being the technical computer science adjacent program. We just about the same time that we actually opened the program as in film animation new media, the University of Tampa also greenlit a computer science major. It had cybersecurity and information technology management before that. But what it's done is really created like parallel majors who are creatives, who are in computer science, who want to come over and animate as well. And I think that's like, Gina Bernardini's a little different because she was mathematical programming and animation, but a lot of other people are computer science now and animation, which those things go together.
Yeah.
And
They really do. And
Yeah.
I don't know, because you probably didn't study computer science, that you would know this, but object-oriented programming, C++, Pascal, these sorts of things, Lisp is kind of, this was all developed for computer graphics. I had the privilege when I was at Columbus College of Art and Design to actually touch a Symbolics graphics workstation, which is about the size of several refrigerators, and it's got
Maybe a
less
little bigger
power
back then.
less power than your phone from 15 years ago. But
Yeah.
that's what they used to use, and whether you're talking about the Dow scrubbing bubbles or the last Starfighter, these things were all done as a programming exercise. And little fact, not well known, Star Wars originally wasn't going to be models, it was going to be 3D, but weren't quite where they wanted to be for the realism, the grit. So you're saying something that's actually really important from the standpoint of understanding computer graphics and animation have to go together.
Yeah.
But the other thing, and I want to make sure you're hearing this from me as well as the audience, as a businessman, we're often challenged by people saying, "Oh, can't you just do that overseas for a lower price?" And the answer to that question is universities are focused on producing people who are talented and more efficient for their time, so that when you get the price at the end of the day, it is the same price, it is as competitive, and you have better communication, you have less quality control issues, and fewer surprises. So when you have a university setting where you've got business students collaborating with marketing students and programmers and artists coming together, that's where you start to build real companies.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's really true. The more I'm discovering about, even putting together creative and coding teams, they want everybody to be physically in one place. Like there are tiers in terms of building teams for app building or any kind of startup. That could be an animation film, or it could be. But the real premium model is everybody is in one location, right?
Yeah.
You're in the room together. There's always the offshore, like work with Eastern Europe or work with Indian programmers or offshore this stuff. But I haven't been in that context. I know.
Yeah.
I think it's harder because it's asynchronous. You've got people all over the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to
Team
schedule
management becomes
meetings
really
and-
difficult.
Time zones are a big
Communication.
thing. I used to work for a company that had an outsourcing. It wasn't there very long, but long enough to learn about it. They had outsourcing in India, and I was as a technical director, different kind of technical director. I was responsible for the estimating, and you had like 4 different job tiers. You had the topmost tier, and then you had the lower tiers. And I did the estimate, and I handed it over, and I said, "So here you go." And my boss was like, "That's wrong. No, the folks in India are going to take 3 times as much." And well, wouldn't you know it? It takes 3 times as much, and they're the third of the price. Are you saving money? No. But then the dirty secret was that the company was making more margin on the Indian labor. So
Yeah, that's also, there's translation when you're going through companies. But that said, the model that we've really tried to stick to is very much a research-driven arts program that's adjacent to a community of technology and programming. It couldn't have been better news when we realized there was going to be a computer science program. We've become besties with them from day one, just because so many of their students cross over and want to do creative work. And I think so much, again, like I am not, I'm dangerous with coding. Like I can make an app, I can make an iPhone app. I have in the past, both that and Android, but with the help of coders here and abroad. But that said, there's always coding somewhere in any of this, right? Like even in you can speak to the fact that like Mel or Python has to be written to even run Maya on some level. And in Unreal Engine, which I'm much more familiar with, C++ is really its base, or you can use Blueprints, which is a more visual artist-oriented thing, but there are people who just go straight in and code that stuff. So it depends. So we're trying to be as close with the resources we have, and I think we're doing a really good job, to cutting edge as possible, and also being really smart about what's coming. How can these coding assets be pulled back into our more creative endeavors?
Also something that, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to lead into with that being said, with especially with AI and everything coming out so fast now, like how do you work on, the program, the curriculum that you do for the students here?
So something that's really important for us and here at the University of Tampa, as we mentioned, the marriage of the computer side and the animation side, basically the technical side of animation. And being able to use cost-cutting techniques that aren't AI, but like just tools that help expedite our process allows us to create animation with a smaller crew and and basically working with efficiency. Something that you lose when you try to work with AI is, as mentioned, you're going to be losing bridging. You're going to get what's supposed to be the same character shot by shot, but they're going to look a little different each time. So you lose a lot of that. You lose a lot of control over the storytelling because you get what you get. You can't really tweak it from there.
Yeah.
Right.
So being able to utilize the tools. I've seen some.
Yeah, I can show you examples.
well, we've got a project that's getting some funding right now. It's an overseas project called Makrui, and they came to us and they had done sort of their teaser, and it was all done with AI because they're based in Armenia, and they didn't quite have the resources. And we hadn't met them yet, and you can look at it, you can get the idea of what they're trying to do, but shot for shot, it's just
It just
unrelated.
didn't come across.
It's a different project.
And then the creepy thing is, you're like, I think I've seen that somewhere
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And I looked at it long enough, and I'm like, is that from the King Games websites? The like Candy Crush, the little cutscenes in Candy Crush. You don't know, but like you have to have artistic
Well,
control.
there's training data, right? And so it has to come from somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. That was one of the big things I remember with them rolling out. AI is like, okay, well, what are you putting into it?
Yeah.
Like you're uploading all these scripts and all these other movie one-liners that are getting thrown in here. Like, how do you know someone else doesn't own that?
Yeah, and going on that same note, there's always a sort of like creepiness that comes because it's organic stuff that's developed inorganically, and you can kind of tell. In animation, we call it the uncanny valley, or this is totally falling down the uncanny valley. But you're exactly right. Where are they taking their materials from? That becomes a huge copyright nightmare. It also becomes a very like unoriginal nightmare because it's drawing from somewhere.
And Finland just passed a law last month. You permanently have rights to your own face and other likenesses. So if you end up in one of these AI videos and you say, "Oh, hey, wait, that's me," you can claim royalties or whatever.
And Disney's doing a lawsuit, aren't they, right now?
Oh, Disney's got a few.
I think.
But you know,
Yeah.
Disney's an example where
doesn't have a lawsuit.
Yeah, Disney. I think it's just a
Fair.
room. They're like NASA. It's a room of lawyers thinking up of ways.
Disney's probably the only one of the short lists of companies out there that would have enough of an intellectual property to train their own internal AI system.
Yeah.
And really that's what it comes down to. In the corporate world, people are using AI to do things like write RFPs, requests for proposals.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what they're doing is they're not pulling from like the complete works of Shakespeare. They're pulling from their own content. Now,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
one of the things about LLMs is that you will train it on something. You have to for it to understand English, and this could easily deviate into deep AI discussions. But when it comes to the art, you're still trying to say, well, this is a hand and it's got 5 fingers. Well, where do the fingers go, and well, how's the thumb behave differently, and so
Right.
forth. So you still have to train it on something. But when things creep in, you don't have control. There's no absolute in AI, and there's no security in AI.
Yes.
That kind of AI, anyhow.
But yeah, I think to answer your question, one part of this is we acknowledge it's real. Like a lot of
It's
We
not
have-
going anywhere.
no,
Yeah,
it's
it's
here.
here.
I mean, and,
It's
and
here,
for
yeah.
animators who have animated like big crowds of people, AI has been there for
Yeah.
years and years and years
Yeah,
for background and for all kinds of other things. So it's not a new thing in a novel way in the animation world. However, like fully automated AI
Placing the
prompt based
artist.
is totally new.
Yeah.
And we do have an AI prompting course just to like so the students completely understand where it is. In ways, despite the legality, I teach a sound production course as well. And when for the days of sampling were upon us between the 1970s and 80s, there was a lot of pushback against like you can't sample Clyde Stubblefield's like Funky Drummer. Right, that's got to be if the case of De La Soul's 3 Feet High Rising. If I don't know if you know that record or not, you should. It's now released. If you have not listened to it, do yourself a favor. It's amazing, but I don't think that they could have paid for it had they licensed all the samples, and therefore it had been taken down during that whole era.
I mean, or you could just be like, Vanilla Ice and just send it out there anyway.
Right, or what's Girl Talk is another one who never sold anything and just comprised everything. Everything was samples, right? It was it was an artwork that was free for everybody, and it was basically just like a sampling project, right? And so
Was that
the
also
prod-
true
you
with,
would go to the
Milli
concerts,
Vanilli?
it would be samples. But there was no
Well,
physical publication.
DJs could do it, but
Yeah, right.
So one of my favorite bands that I actually got a chance to work with, Information Society in the 80s,
Sure.
known for sampling Star Trek films
Yeah.
and radio broadcasts and so forth, and they would just mix that in with the music in a way that created its own beauty.
And I think to your point when you said about the DJs, I think the reason why they were always able to do it was because they're not using it to make a product and sell based off that mixing. Like they're selling themselves as an entertainer.
Yeah,
but they're not saying, "Hey, I made this CD for you based on my stuff."
They're using it as a performance, like that individual performance of it.
kind of like a cover band can
But
just
yeah.
play the song.
Yeah, it's true. How BMI or ASCAP covers this stuff has become ultra more complex, and I, quite frankly, don't even know how the algorithms work on any of these to pull rights for anything that's been used. But the point of it is, at a curricular level, we're aware that it's here. We're not going to deny it. We're not going to keep it out. Like I feel like I'm always the early adopter, and then okay, this works with it. This doesn't work with it. Let's integrate that into your toolkit as something that to be used. I'm working on a pilot for live television, like half an hour series, where I'm using AI to make a point that there are these young kids with an iPad that have a band that blows up, like goes international, because they're just like popping stuff off on Suno and putting videos together through ChatGPT. It ends up becoming a thing, but it's it's an ironic counterpoint to the mother who's like a traditional actor, stage actor who's written a bunch of stuff. Like the difference between that and like performing your own written work on stage is like this vast swath that we're all in, right? Like we're still doing stage plays and you guys are still making animations. Some of it's purely AI. It's just a really bewildering world in this kind of amazing way. And I feel like AI is a tool, and it's also something to be keenly aware of and stay on top of so you're not caught out by it. Like you may as well use it when you can. Like I'm not a purist by any of this stuff, about any of it.
Well, I think we're a long way from Elon Musk's robots doing Macbeth on a live stage.
Yeah, right.
A long way, but not too far.
Boston Dynamics or whomever, right? They're
Big dog.
Well, it's interesting too with AI. It's like I believe that's supposed to be the premise for the new Tron movie. If you remember,
Tron Ares?
the original Tron, he got sucked into his programming. It was all programs. And this one, because it's coming
They're
into the real
bringing it
world,
out.
it's supposed to be an AI thing.
what's the
makes it
inversion,
happen.
right?
Yeah, it looks like they're doing like 3D printing as well. So
But I
it's
think
it's
it's-
very edgy in that regard.
I think the way they're at least what I'm gathering from the previews, the way they're spinning it is like military tech.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to create a
Hey.
AI.
Just gonna ask, watch party?
I mean,
we can.
I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
We could rent it for the Charlene Gordon Theater.
There you go.
Yes.
We're happy to host, and it'll be free to the public. But I think that as a part of our toolkit has to just be acknowledged. Like no one's like sitting around thinking this isn't coming.
Yeah.
You look at TikTok for 2 seconds, and it's all over everything.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think
My
there's
students
a-
ask me about it all the
it's interesting having a younger daughter who's really able to discern this stuff already.
Yeah.
The live action versus the constructed. I mean,
She's got that?
oh yeah, there's like an inherent. She's like, that's fake. That's not real. That's not real. Even if it's like a hyper photorealistic like set of, what she generates like capybaras on the edge of a river, right? She's like, nah, those are real. That's fake. Like it's interesting how savvy this Gen Alphas are about all this.
Well, there's
It's such a strange world they're coming into. It's just everything
There's some
from pure
visual
analog
cues.
to
Yeah.
perspective and shadow, lighting focus points. I watched a documentary by a mathematician who was
Glare.
paid to spot fakes, and all you really have to do is play artist for a bit and follow your perspective lines, follow your light lines, and so forth. So what you would learn at a university is applicable in identifying fakes. So forensic value.
That's a point, that we stress throughout, and I think a lot of people are saying. I had a colleague the other day, and from our music program, saying, "Well, we're probably good because we're still training people to do stuff, right? And accounting, we don't know, right? But the point that I stress with a lot of people who come through and say, "Well, AI is coming for everybody. How is it coming for you?" And I say, ultimately, still you need to. You can come in with like you already have like a roster of Roblox games that it can be 14. We've had students come in and pay for a good part of college through Roblox asset sales. Like it's real.
What?
Yes, that's true.
I paid my way through college with Roblox sales.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're already.
Well, even the kids doing like Twitch, those streaming
And so
videos
there's a lot of entrepreneurship.
Minecraft or whatever. Yeah.
But one of the things that we really stress, and our accreditation agency, National Schools of Art and Design, which is upon us soon here, really stresses is that you understand the foundations and the principles of what you're doing. Color theory, perspective, all the stuff that gets baked into our foundations courses, we've just doubled down on. And I say to everyone in my classes, it's like no matter how much AI is automating our processes, you actually kind of have to know like what a 3-act story looks like, what good writing is, like what should be the objective of a scene, like all the things that are like very much.
It's still only
College
as
level.
good as what you can put into it.
Yeah. And I don't get me wrong, like I'm one. If you look at my website, there's a film called The Lucky, entirely written by AI. It was GPT-3 and it was written in 2021.
Sort of reminds me of like was Newgrounds. Like when I was first getting into animation, I was a student and then later teaching it. those, if you ever see like the old Newgrounds videos when animation was going from on paper to, paperless, what they're calling it when I graduated.
Right.
You could tell the animations that were done digitally without the foundational skills because they'd have no sense of weight, they'd have no sense of balance, they'd just be floating around.
Okay.
And it's kind of similar to that, or it reminds me of that.
And I think in a lot of ways that still is the value of pretty much anything. Like the principles of accounting, the principles of animation. Like
Yep.
I really find that principles of color theory and like camera, what is a close up or a medium close up or an extreme close up, do differently, or why would you use a cowboy shot? Show them good, the bad, and the ugly. Like there has to be a connection to the history of cinema to some extent. It's also why we're here, right? You can do this. I've found that like massive online courses, they don't work well, right? Even though it's open source or no film school, people kind of need their community. They need to do things together. They need to be plugged in with colleagues who they come back and they do the thing in person together with day in and day out.
Absolutely.
I think there's a very human dimension that I think AI doesn't seem to factor for, where we may all be using AI, we're probably all going to be sitting in a room doing it together.
Right.
It's still a very human activity, creativity. So I think that's the way that we look at it, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job of staying on the edge of both the research and also in using it. Santiago Echeverri teaches an AI prompting course. He's created some great stuff in there. The students, it's like dive in, see what it can do, use it as a tool, keep moving, right? In the same way that I think Adobe Photoshop did when it was first released, from everybody from graphic designers to painters. Like it had a huge effect on the painting world because people were all of a sudden putting filters on things as a reference and then painting it. And all of a sudden you
get the
saw these
content
effects in
aware
painting where
Yeah.
you were like, that's clearly a digital Adobe effect just laid over a photograph, but it was a new way to imagine painting. In the same way that photography reimagined painting.
Yeah.
So I think AI is going to help us reimagine animation in some dramatic way. I just don't know. It could be really, really strange. I mean, in magnificent and probably really horrific.
No, there's never going to be a big learning curve.
Yeah. I mean, I
learning
like that kind of garish, uncertain future. Is just, to me, it's like, how do we navigate this well and do it elegantly? It's something that's really important to me. So.
Oh, emphasis on cutting edge. You're going to get cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the cut and cutting edge.
I think like one of the things that we're really proud of with the festival too is that we're bringing in a lot of students. Like there's a huge student category. The categories range from student to film to Florida animations to stop motion to features. I want to say we have over 300 submissions globally from student animators.
Okay.
Which is really like it seems to like very organically. We did not I didn't write CalArts and Ringling. I could have, we didn't have the time. I just let this thing run wild on Film Freeway. And the animators from around the world, Estonia, I got emails from all over the world about this. I'm a student, I'm an animator, I made this in as a student, can you please look at this and give us feedback? It's really heartening to see that many animators from programs coming out of the weeds from all across the globe. It's just incredible. It's been like really remarkable. I don't know how we're going to program so much of the good stuff. Like it's kind of it's an embarrassment of riches in a way, but
I know a guy that's been doing programming for years. He might be able to.
Yeah,
help you out
I mean,
with
again,
that.
like our programmer programs shorts for Santa Fe, and he's the head of programming at Annapolis. But I think it's really remarkable to see how animation as a medium speaks to its moment in some ways more clearly, both politically and socially and environmentally and all that, than can live action. And a lot of ways, like what we see from the students coming back is a real portrait of like their daily lives, how that's translated into animated stories. And I think that to me is the real core of why we're doing this. It's like ultimately, no matter that you're using not using high definition cameras and you're using animation, the stories that really resonate, to me at least, are the extremely human ones, right? Environmental, be that, however humanity relates to its environment, both on the local and the cosmic scale. That to my mind has been like the most humbling part of looking at all this stuff. It's like, wow, there's a lot of talent out there.
Well, the one question I had real quick was, so you said you have about over 300 submissions or 300
Of students
submissions.
alone,
Of students
Yeah,
alone.
like 775 or more.
Yeah, so you guys
Probably be
have
800 total. In
a
some.
whole lot. How many? Did you have an idea of like how many you'll actually be able to play at the festival? Because I know like with other festivals, you get submissions, but you have to kind of, screen them, grade them, see if they're going entry
I
wise.
think Film Freeway asks you to set down kind of parameters.
Yep.
On the front end, and I want to say we thought we were going to get 1,000. I was being super ambitious when I just randomly put a number. We'd never used Film Freeway. We honestly curated everything last time.
Yeah.
We went through and Derek literally went through Film Board of Canada, bought all the that it was basically in a lot. If you actually look on the Tampa Animation Festival website, before I forget to say this, there are still links to a lot of those animations that were screened in the first festival that are live. So you can go back and watch all those animations from the first festival through links. I would say 60% of them are still live and they're up, which in and of itself is a master class in the animation of the last 10 or 15 years. But the other point was when I put in the data, it was 1,000. We're thinking about 1,000 movies, 80 will be screened, 9 awards. That was kind of the parameters that I established from the front end. Just quite honestly, just ballpark. What can we get done in a 3-day festival? 80, that's quite a bit, but these are shorter, right? A lot of them are 3 minutes, so you can get a program of 15 films in one 90-minute block or something like that. So I think that's kind of ballpark what we're going to put on screen at the Charlene Gordon. And it probably will be 2 to 3 programs a day, the 6th, 7th, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9th is talks and award ceremony, and then there's going to be and really this should be made note to everybody that's in Florida and proximity of Tampa. We're doing a get together for filmmakers of all varieties and stripes and fields in the afternoon on November 9th, where we're going to do a reception in the Charlene Gordon lobby, which is in the Furman Center of the Arts on University of Tampa's campus, and at that point it's just going to be bringing the feature filmmakers people in, bringing the film commission, bringing all of the production companies, so everybody knows who each other is. That meet and greet will be better publicized, but we'll put it out through our our materials on the Tampa Animation website, but then also through probably our contacts at Sunscreens and thereafter. I just want to make sure to note that as well. But those are the basic parameters. Yeah,
there's a couple groups through those guys as well that they do. Kind of like what you're talking about, they'll do mixers outside, just in general, doesn't have to be for a film festival, but they'll do a meet and greet grouping once a month or something. There's a couple groups that do that.
I know Film Florida does it too. We just joined Film Florida. We're one of the newest members, which has been a great way to promote the program again, to be really part of the discussion of all the film programs here in Florida. I think that this is just as everything. Every class you teach, it's an experiment. We're going to see what happens.
Yeah,
but we really, I think what we're trying to do is provide quality in access to the campus and really show people what we can do as a program, and also how we can be here to support the arts community in Florida and in Tampa in general. It's really very much, we're here to support and really hopefully provide content. I should also note that we're doing workshops with Sunscreen throughout the course of the fall semester. Look on Sunscreen's Eventbrite page. You will find all of that listed. Some are film financing, some's about AI and filmmaking.
AI might be our guy, Steve.
Please.
Might be,
and we're bringing in, I think, Christian Bloveld is the first speaker, and he's the digital director of IndieWire, so who's now in town. We really have a moment here in the filmmaking and media making industry in general in Florida where there's just a lot of momentum. That IndieWire's digital director is in town now is a really remarkable thing. It's kind of a win for us all to have somebody who's such a resource.
Oh, absolutely. And so the 6th through the 9th is the days it's going to be doing. What are when does the film festival start each day? Is it going to go?
I think to respect most people's mornings, we're probably going to begin I think the 6th will be a premiere evening, and then that's a Thursday, and then Friday will be 2 or 3 blocks. Saturday will be, Friday will be a heavier day. Saturday will be a heavier day, and then Sunday probably 3 to 4 programs total on both of those days. We only have one theater. It's the Charlene Gordon Theater, so we can only run one block at a time, which I think is kind of great because then you can see everything.
Yeah, you don't have to choose between different events.
Where longer festivals, when I was in Sarasota, you could, I had a film play on day 1 and then day 9, right, where you could see everything, but you had to sort of be there the whole time to. and have those 10 days free, which few of us who.
I barely have 1 day free right now.
Yeah, right.
So
It's a very unique individual retirement. It maybe will be that time, but so we're thinking probably about at least 10 to 12 blocks.
Okay.
And then an award ceremony, and then a mixer, really a big Film Florida, Film Tampa Bay mixer after.
Yeah, we'll have some speakers.
Right.
And panels.
So that's
That.
we're just getting those things together, and I dare say we don't want to like say too much now.
Yeah,
We wanna
yeah,
make
no.
sure-
Yeah.
Sorry.
We've got requests out to some bigger names too, who I think we'll try to get back as well. But just it depends on their schedule, and as you know, in the industry, things come up in a heartbeat, and
Yeah.
they can't do it.
yeah,
So.
like literally last minute sometimes. Like
Yeah.
they're supposed to be hopping on a plane and hey, sorry, I can't come in.
Yep.
So I want to highlight your project a little bit more. Can you tell me about the film, Chorus, and how that's kind of turned out for you in your process? And I want to highlight one of our faculty.
Oh, sure.
I can talk all day, and that I think is to our detriment.
Oh, sure. So Corsadero is our project at Pencil Gator Animation Studio. I was the director of it, and Joseph was the producer. It's been going through the film festival circuit. Had its world premiere in October 2024 at Catalyst Content Festival. It's won, I believe, 5 awards.
Yeah, we
So
just picked
far-
up one at
Congratulations.
Thank
in
you.
Orlando last month.
Yep.
Oh, excellent.
Urban Media.
Yep. Orlando Urban Film Festival.
Okay.
And we won Best Web Series.
Oh, very nice.
So how can do you have a Instagram handle? Do you have a website? Like where can people find more information about the film?
Well, you can follow us at pencilgator.com, and Corsadero also has its link tree for social media at chorustadero.com.
That's
Chorus, like music chorus.
DERO.
Tudero.
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 Chorus, like music chorus.
I have a feeling you guys
Tudero.
can put that in the notes below.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's all. Yeah, absolutely.
But you also find us on pencilgator.com also.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, I think we screened it here on campus as
We
well.
did, yeah.
Proud to have that be one of our
that was our premiere, actually.
faculty
Yeah, we had
Was
our
on
private
campus.
screen.
Oh, excellent.
Now, once this is out of the film circuit, do you guys have it set to be launched on any platforms, or what's the plan for it next?
So at this point, we've got a finished pilot. It's a
Okay.
series. It's a web series. As anyone will tell you, it's difficult to find investors. What I'm doing right now in my role at Pencil Gator is building the relationships to find the kind of money that will make it
Yeah.
continue to go forward.
And we have a full pitch deck
So,
prepared. and-
Very nice.
Right now, I'm pitching other people's films and learning how to do that because I think that pitching an animated TV series or web series is a bit of a challenge.
Especially
So
original IP.
doing the easier ones first, but all the while building relationship. And at this point, I'm looking for the right investor.
Yeah.
Tony, get your checkbook out.
Yeah. I think my
One
wallet
more.
coughs
So
whenever I
if you
open it.
happen to have,
Don't worry, we'll post date it.
please contact Dana Corrigan.
Thanks, Greg.
No, I will be the first to say. But this is part of the challenges that I think is nice for our students to see happening with the faculty. Like they're not only just doing academic work and animation, they're in the market. They're starting an LLC. They have a company.
Yeah.
This is some of the stuff that I think a lot of art students and animation students are unaware of when they leave school. They don't know. You gotta open you gotta open a for-profit institution. You gotta register your LLC in
Yep.
Florida or somewhere.
with
wherever
contracts,
you
what's the
land,
NDA?
like where do the contracts come from? Like there's a lot of that back end business stuff that we're really starting to get students involved with by internships and getting
Yeah.
adjacent to our production so they understand this before they leave.
And
Are
help
you-
teach them like communication.
And across that, we
and
don't have a
soft
professional
skills.
practices course, but it's very much anecdotally between the faculty and the students at this point where I feel like we need one.
I was just
Yeah,
going to
that's
I
ask.
think
something
a
I'm
lot of
started
schools.
putting
I think a
together,
lot
yeah.
of schools could use one in general.
Yeah, it's often
Art
missing.
schools because they train you to be an artist. You leave, in particular, I think film and animation are better because they are these are all entrepreneurial upstart businesses
Yeah.
to some extent. Like if you're making it, unless you're just making a personal vanity piece, as
Yeah.
they call it in the kind of like
Yeah.
film
Yeah.
production world. You need to see where's the return on investment. Like if I'm going to put
Right.
if I have investors giving us $350,000, which I don't, I'm just saying like as a theoretical, they need to know where is this getting marketed? How do you market your films? And actually, a lot of those Sunscreen Film Festival which we've recorded. There's a whole, if you look on their YouTube page, there are many of our workshops from last year. How do you finance a short film? Like that's all there in there. It's sort of a pitch for Sunscreen's YouTube channel. Those are there. These are great talks with industry professionals to talk about like, how do you find money? How do you make a feature with a very low budget? How do you approach investors? Like, what are some of the new models to work with? Are you doing Freevee or what's the other one? There's a bunch of free streaming platforms. Those economic models have changed, and I think the writer's strike and AI have also shifted the whole playing field. But being in the market and trying to get things out really keeps you sharp.
Yeah.
Well, and
and
also to that point too, real quick, is also distribution.
Right.
Learning
Yeah.
about distribution, not even just distribution, learning about it, but the distribution deals. We happen to know somebody from Team Berserker who did workshops on distribution. And she was on our show a few times, and the one time that's almost a whole hour. That's what she could talk about, and just about like you've got to know before you even start marketing, start
Exactly.
finding a distributor potentially. Look at their credentials. Really sit down with them. Really. Go with a fine-tooth comb as to what their plan is for your return of investment on, also as well.
I think
it's a
you have
big
to
thing.
Be very shrewd and suss out what you're really working with as early as possible.
Yep.
But the content in those Sunscreen workshops is great.
Oh yeah.
It's really authoritative, and I think it's worth anybody reviewing
Definitely.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've always wanted to go to them every time we go there, but we're
busy.
basically so enthralled with interviews, we just have no time.
We don't
You
get
could
to
set- if
see
you
any of the
wanna use
movies.
the upstairs lobby, you can interview with somebody beforehand and then just come to the workshop. But do look for I think they're already on the Sunscreen Eventbrite. There's 3 coming up this fall. I hope we fill the theater. So
Yeah.
they're getting pretty good response already, but it's tough. They're Tuesday nights at 6:00. It's here in Tampa. People are working everywhere from Sarasota to Pasco. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's a long drive at the end of a
Yeah.
workday, and it's hard to get here.
We thus far have gotten pretty good attendance.
We've
from
had
what I
people
remember.
drive down from Gainesville for these, so
Yeah.
it's a beautiful theater. It's now been
It is.
completely tuned to 7.1 surround
Nice.
by to Academy standards. We had somebody come in this summer and really tune it up. So it should be a real it's going to be a real spectacle to see films in there in legitimate DCP surround sound. So
And so
Do
there's
yourself a
one here in
favor.
Tampa.
yep, it's in the Charlene Gordon Theater
Yep,
at
that's
the.
where the
Okay.
Tampa
Oh,
Animation
that
Festival.
one over
Yep,
there?
that's
Okay.
where
Yep, here on
that'll be the
campus.
screening venue for the entire festival.
Well, and also too in the area, but unfortunately not in Tampa, but over more on the Pinellas County side. Speaking of new theaters or redone theaters, if you're familiar with the old Beach Theater, that used to be on what was it, Beach Drive? I
I
think.
think so.
That's where
Right at the
Sunscreen
end.
It was.
Played
So
there.
it was.
That's
it was
where
a-
Sunscreen Replay is later
Yeah,
this
well,
month.
Yeah,
we're going to
okay.
be there. Of course,
Yeah.
there's a screening
That
at
is
Sunscreen
the way they
Replay Day.
redid that is beautiful, and then the
is.
family that built it back up because it was going to be condemned because they got rid of it and nobody could make it
Yeah.
happen. And this girl and her
It just-
family brought it back to life, so now they have the actual old school. I used to see movies in there when I was like 10, 11.
Yeah, it's nice to see that the live cinema experience is still there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It matters that those art house cinemas keep going. It really does.
oh absolutely.
And the chairs are a whole lot easier to figure out too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Keep it simple.
Yep,
Simple is
I
better.
can't imagine it's nearly as expensive as having a 3-course meal served.
Well, we do have we got a couple minutes left. I know we kind of have some limited time here, but so we're almost at an hour here. But just we got a couple minutes. I just want to see if there's any other recaps, anything you want to reiterate. Obviously, after this, before we post this out, we'll get all this information of the links and different things of stuff we've talked about, and we'll post it up with this information. But just kind of want to see if there's any last thoughts.
I don't know. I think often the campus feels like it's very closed and people don't want to come or it's hard to park or whatever. Really just write us. We're happy to give tours. All of the lectures on campus are open to the public unless otherwise indicated. I think living in a city where there's this kind of resources, both financial lectures in the business school or, things that come into our film program or the Sunscreen, take advantage of it. We're here. There's a lot that we're trying to benefit. And the university here we're in the heart of Tampa. We really want to benefit the community as well. So reach out. Don't be afraid of coming in and saying hello.
I'd like to invite everybody to come to the Beach Theater for the Sunscreen Replay Day. Not only will Corsadero be playing there during the animation block, but also one of our U Tampa students, animation students, Hannah's film Planet Blue, will be playing there.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, I just want to say I'm building my relationship with the University of Tampa through Dana, and it's exciting for me with my non-art background and computer security to start to learn about the other programs that are here, see where I can volunteer, see where I can speak, and add some value. So I've genuinely enjoyed coming here and being part of the story, and I look forward to a strong relationship both in the film industry and adjunct with Dana.
Fantastic, guys. Well, again, and thank you guys so much for having us here.
Thank you.
To talk about this and, to learn a little bit more about the school, the program, and what you guys have going on. And we look forward to when the film festival is coming out, the animation festival. We'd love to check it out.
All resources will be on our webpage, tampaanimationfestival.com. So things should be coming up soon. We will establish a mailing link. If it's not already there, we will make sure it's there soon. Just sign up for our mailing link. You will get everything. So so the email and the updates. Like I said, everything is free. All the screenings are free. You just got to make sure to reserve a seat before you get here.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you to the listeners. Hope you get a lot of good information. We'll be posting all the links and everything as we post this episode. As usual, we'll be giving you constant updates as to events coming up, events that'll be that we've attended, and so on and so forth.
And what may be happening.
And what may be happening. Yes, we got a few things in the works ourselves here. We still got to work out, cross some T's, dot some I's. But until then, for Movie Talks and Chill, we are your hosts. I am Tony Serrano.
I'm Gavin Butts.
And again, sorry Patrick Wall couldn't be here, but whatever.
Maybe not sorry.
And thank you to University of Tampa and Pencil Gator Studios for having us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, take care.